obviously taking the money and spending it is a separate issue. You're still an idiot for that.
Yeah.
But you could be forgiven for not believing in cryptocurrency. That is understandable. But what's not understandable is the repeated lies.
No, but you can understand why he did that though, because he was sure crypto is gonna crash at some point. He was sure.
No, because he was like,
Who thought he's gonna go up to that?
don't trust
millions?
you're gonna trust yourself again after you just cost. No, you know, you might have to be deaf. You might have to get stoned. Stoned.
No, you
350 million.
You know you can't pay that back.
Yeah, of course not.
So-
And the funniest thing is,
You
like
can
your
never-
whole line was set up.
So
your
what are you
whole
saying?
lineage,
So
bro,
wait,
was
are you
never have to
saying
work.
that every paycheck he makes, he's got to go straight to you?
Straight, brother. Straight. There are a lot of authors whose works make repeat appearances on this show. Some of them, if God is good, will never be back. Richard Osman is one man I'm happy to take it from again and again and again. The author of the Thursday Murder Club series, Richard is known for his conversational style of prose, which I call Japanese, and his dry English wit that propelled him to the top of the Sunday Times bestseller list for 40 straight weeks in a row. Just like any author, you know where you stand with Richard. There might not be a plot, there might not be a point, but at the very least, you'll smile, you'll laugh, and you'll have an entertaining read while you waste your time.
So are you genuinely happy to see when Richard Osman releases a book and we've got to read it?
Pause this video right now!
Go and read The Impossible Fortune by
Richard Osman, and when you've read it, you can join us for the discussion.
Or you can join us anyway, because we're going to tell you all about it. My name's Elijah.
And I'm Joseph, and welcome to the Aisha Library. Happy is probably not the right word. I'm like, my old nemesis.
But you know what?
My old friend.
I much prefer a Frida McFadden, because you're going to get something different. When it's Richard Osman, it's the same old shit.
I
And
think
that
Freedom
might not
McFadden's the same old shit as well.
Yeah, but at least it's going to be a little bit different.
There's going to be...
Richard is
yeah.
going to be exactly the same. But one thing I will say, I'd say this is probably the best one he's done.
You think so?
Yeah. I think it's the best one. That was
You think
read
so?
from him. I mean, maybe the first one.
I was about to say the first one with the Douglas.
Yeah,
I think
because
that's the
there
best
was a
one.
good, yeah.
Good Douglas was such
But
a
that
good
was
character.
different. That wasn't the gang. It was
Oh, yeah,
Elizabeth,
fair
but it
enough.
wasn't the
It
gang.
wasn't the gang, yeah.
That was actually Thursday Murder Club, but it had nothing to do with the gang. But yeah. Should we just get into it? I'll go first
get into
because I've got more.
How many do you have? 5?
Wait, something's wrong with my notes. You know. Wait, hold on. Let me just.
Well, we have a problem, Houston.
It's no. Okay. No, I think I just did it wrong. That's fine. All right. Richard Osman, we meet again. This is starting to feel like harassment. You're all over my Audible, my Netflix. I see advertisements on buses. I can't get away from you. I can see that you're going to keep writing stories about this group for as long as you can. You're going to spank this horse until it's dead, aren't you? Don't wrong you for that. Suppose there's nothing wrong with a bit of spanking. Of course, for every new book, you need to up the stakes, don't you? But car bombs in London... Well, Cooper's Chase is Berkshire. But a car bomb is a bit much, isn't it? There's easier ways to kill somebody than planting a bomb in their car. Are you trying to do their whole family?
And innocent bystanders as well.
Ruthless. If these stories are supposed to be believable, then a car bomb is just so far off the mark. Why, as an author, would you go down that route? I think this is the first time I'm not starting my review by complaining that there are too many characters. For once, I actually say that I can say I know the whole gang. It's only taken me 5 bloody books to finally get to grips with all the characters. You'd have thought that Richard Osman has already created an inexhaustible cast and that he wouldn't need to include new characters, such as Joanna, who's Joyce's daughter, and her husband Paul, and Kendrick becoming a main character. Do you think Richard Osman needs his head checked? I can just imagine him sitting there thinking, you know what this story needs? More characters. If I was a woman, I'd see this as red flag behaviour. There's no way Richard Osman is monogamous. And for that reason, I like him. A man after my own heart.
Yeah, he's just like me. Yeah, nah.
So, yeah, what do you think?
Well, that's an interesting point you made about a car bomb, because I think not only is that not a cost-efficient way of killing somebody, it's not an efficient way of killing somebody in the sense of you're going to kill loads more people. You might not even kill the guy you're going after.
And I think it's much easier to track down a bomb expert.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so hard to get hold of a bomb as well. In terms of, you can...
Believe me, I've tried.
Poison. Like, poison is
anything.
super easy to get hold of.
Yeah. And it was weird. It was weird.
Yeah, no, I don't know why somebody would do that. That's a great point. But Yeah, no, he keeps going back to the characters thing because that's his one trick. We've seen it, and it's a good one, but it's his one trick, and it's the power of his book, so he's got to keep doing it. And literally, it's my first point. The power of Richard Osman has always been in his characters. I think this is both a pro and a con. The way he has his reader living inside the heads of his characters, like Joyce, subject to their every intrusive thought, creates a rich character experience. You end up really feeling like you know and can connect to these people. The con is, at least for me, so much Japanese squeezes out room for stronger world building. We often see Richard Osman's plots suffering because of it. So
not just world building we're missing out on. We're actually missing out depth of the characters. Yeah. You know, there are one or two characters that we do know intimately, but on the whole, there's so many characters that are half characters. You know, they say a couple of lines here and there, and then that's it. And I just don't understand why he does that.
I've read a lot of reviews, and it's not just
I didn't read any reviews.
I read some reviews, and there were people that I was just like, why is Connie in this book? And it's just like things like that.
See,
like,
I like Connie though, and I think Connie could be something special, which I kind of mentioned.
I'm not saying you obliterate whole characters forever, but I'm saying like, skip them out this book and bring them back in this book. So maybe skip 2 books or whatever.
Yeah, if you're going to take out characters, Connie is not the first on the list. Kendrick.
He should, but he's like, these guys shouldn't have been in. But bringing in new characters is
we barely saw Bogdan. Bogdan was properly featured in all the books, but we see Ibrahim a lot more in this book than Bogdan. Bogdan was the fixer, you know, and he was always there. Is Ethan Hunt about to appear as another character of this book? Because this story has just turned into Mission Impossible. The septuagenarians, should they choose to accept their mission, will need to break into a classified, highly secured cold storage unit. They'd need to turn a security guard from the cold storage, Nick's half of the code, Holly's half of the code, and because the cold storage unit is so secure, you need somebody else who has a unit inside the facility too. I just have one question. Was it ever explained why they need to break into the storage unit in the first place? I understand that Holly and Nick were missing, presumed dead, and they were the beneficiaries of the £350 million worth of Bitcoin that was safely secured in the cold storage unit.
Was it 350? I thought it was 150.
I think it was 350, but it doesn't matter. But why did the gang need to break in? Were they interested in pocketing the treasure themselves? So in usual Thursday Murder Club fashion, there was hardly any action and just a lot of talking. I suppose Richard Osman wanted to remedy that, and he thought, I know what this book needs. More characters. So he introduced to Tina, who's a young woman who Connie the criminal has taken under her wing. Tina is an armed robber, and Connie says to her, instead of robbing Rolex, where there are only 15 watches in the shop, why don't you rob the warehouses at the docks? So I mean, did Richard Osman's remedy work? I suppose so, but we already have Connie, who's a career criminal, and we know Connie, and we like Connie. Why not use this as an opportunity to build the character? I honestly think that Connie is such a strong character, but we haven't seen enough action from her. We've seen growth in terms of Ibrahim attempting to reform her, but we haven't seen much else. Just a whole lot of talking. Why won't Richard Osman add any action to his books?
Action. Missing out action is a huge thing. It's supposed to be this, quaint, classic murder mystery sort of vibe.
And I think I didn't add it into my notes, but he tried to do the action with Tina. She robbed this, that, and the other. Yeah. It was a failed robbery. It was basically filler because she went there, she tried to rob them, it didn't work, and she got rescued by Connie. Why was that in there? We don't know Tina, we don't care about Tina, we didn't need that. And then we had this funny sort of flirtation thing going on with Kenny and Tina. Tina's like a 19-year-old. Kenny's like, 8?
Yeah, no.
What was that about?
He's just, characters and a relationship between them is like his thing. He just keeps doing it. But it's going to reach a point where you realistically can't keep adding characters. And that's probably when he's going to be like, this is the last book.
I don't think he knows what that means.
If he did know, he would have stopped already. He would have stopped already.
Yeah, exactly. Because he's taking a piss.
He's taking a piss.
Joanna, Paul, Kenny, Tina, these are the new
characters. He didn't even say any of them. We've still got Joyce, we've still got Elizabeth, we've still got Ibrahim, we've still got Bogdan, we've still got Connie, Ron.
There's loads.
Ridiculous amount.
Donna,
Jesus Christ.
There's loads.
That is at least
Chris.
That's like
Chris 50. And Donna the police. But as I said, it was different coming into this book because I know the characters now. Because when I was opening the first one or the second one, my head was spinning. But now I'm just like, oh yeah,
Imagine
I know them.
we started on this book.
Well, that's why I actually put in my notes. I said, if you started in this book, I cut it out of the notes. But if you started in this book, you would be lost, and not because of the plot. You'd be lost because of just the characters. It's just, it's just too many. But what do we know, eh?
So, after telling Elizabeth that somebody is after him, best man of the wedding, Nick Silver, goes mysteriously missing. After discovering his trashed office, the gang discover that Nick and his business partner Holly have a cache of Bitcoin tucked away. As somebody that knows everything about Bitcoin, except for what it is, how to use it, and what it's worth, I think this was an opportunity for Richard Osman to simply and concisely educate his readers on what cryptocurrency is in a way a child could understand.
And he didn't.
And he didn't. I think once you take opportunities to teach readers things, it makes a book all it actually can be. So now I'm not just being entertained, now I'm actually smarter. Which I think is something more authors should try and do. And it's not about using big words, it's about, like, I know if I go into ChatGPT and say, explain cryptocurrency simply, it will tell me and I will understand what it is.
Yeah, I think it was an attempt to be a little bit current with the crypto and the cold storage.
But it could be so much. It could have been so much more than that, though. It doesn't need to just be. Oh, it's a gimmick.
If you educate someone too much on Bitcoin, then it makes the story seem a little bit more silly because once you have crypto on like a hard drive or something like that, there's no need to hide that hard drive in a cold storage unit. No one will know what's on that hard drive. You could literally place it in the corner of your room and nobody would ever think anything.
Probably be safer.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe he thought he doesn't want to do too much Japanese.
Maybe he doesn't know what cryptocurrency is either.
I thought that, and I tried to do a little bit of research on cold storage and whatnot, but it is a thing, and people do. Yeah. So he dotted the I's and crossed the T's there. As much as I like to slag off Richard Osman, you know I say that his writing style screams amateur, from his constant influx of characters and his choice of telling and not showing style of writing. He does on occasion show what I like to call brilliance. There was a scene where Elizabeth is given a nod to her late husband Stephen. She was exploring her grief. She told the story of Stephen and the chair. She said they drove down to Camden to an antique shop where Stephen found a chair that he absolutely had to have. It was perfect for the living room, and he assured me that it would fit in the car, Elizabeth said. The chair didn't fit in the car. Stephen then lashed the chair onto the roof of the car, where they drove at a speed of 15 miles an hour for the next 2 hours all the way home. Then the chair wouldn't fit up the stairs. Stephen had to call somebody to saw the legs off the chair to get it into the flat. Then he realised that in fact the chair didn't match the curtains, which was the reason why he got it in the first place. Stephen, in an act of defiance, settled into the chair and put his feet up. It was Stephen and the chair, and it was the chair and Stephen, and now it's just the chair. And to me, that was beautiful. The reason why I like to call it brilliance, even though it's not, and the reason why I say it's not, is because any idiot can make up two characters that go through some sort of hardship where they can reminisce about it. But although it's not exactly original, it's probably been done to death, but it still hits just as hard. I felt Elizabeth's inner turmoil, her detest for the chair, and what her husband, stubborn Stephen, put her through on that day. I also understand that it's probably the first time that Elizabeth has had the power to get rid of the damn thing, but it's also probably the first time that she doesn't want to. So, question, what are your thoughts on the scene? Was it brilliant, or was it bog standard boring stuff that's been done to death and I just made it sound better than it really
No, it's not. It's probably been done to death.
It definitely has been done to death. I mean, Game of Thrones done it to death.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what we always go back to.
Yeah, it's the kind
but
of
it
thing
hits
where
hard. I think
it does. No, it does hit hard because it's like when you lose somebody or missing somebody, it's never the big things you remember. It's always going to be small things, small things that you can't even explain why that popped into your head. Like, why did I suddenly remember that? And it's the kind of thing, it's heartwarming, it was a wholesome moment. And this is why I say he's good at characters, because he actually does make you connect to these characters.
This was the only scene in the book where he utilised that. And
it's specifically Elizabeth, though. I think if he did it with one of the new characters, we wouldn't give as much of a shit, obviously. But
I don't know. I think that's the easy way to get us to like a character. When you put those things, that's the best way to get us to know the new character, doing things like that. So I don't know why these things aren't used much more in stories. He just relies on jokes.
Yeah, he does. And I just
quips.
think, I've always said, I think comedy should supplement whatever you got. It should never be the meat and potatoes, because if I wanted that, I'd just be watching stand-up, I suppose.
Yeah,
Even when you watch
exactly.
stand-up, a lot of it is stories and
Yeah,
anecdotes,
and
and
that's
the
what
jokes
makes it
popped
better.
in.
Yeah,
and it's
yeah,
like,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
not even comedy is 100%
Because you think
comedy.
you want jokes, go listen to a
100.
one-liner.
I'm telling you, yeah, exactly. Read some
It
knock
gets
jokes
awkward
online.
real quick.
Very fast. But it's, not even comedy is 100% comedy. So when you've got a book or a story or whatever, and it's 80, 90, 95% comedy, it's just like, bro, you don't have much of a story to tell, do you?
So here's a quick question. If Richard Osman was right here in front of you, what do you think would be the first thing you would say to him or ask him? Or
I would be like, you need to stop. You need to stop.
no, but
making
he's starting.
new
I think
characters.
he's starting to rake in the millions now. You know, with the Netflix and all that.
Yeah,
I think he's really
bro,
starting
Ben
to
Kingsley
cash
was
in.
in that, he's a big time actor. So
Pierce Brosnan
Yeah,
was in there.
real talk.
He was a James Bond.
Yeah, he's James Bond. He's other things as well. He's Dr. Fate. But he's
So yeah, some big names are in there.
big
to be
boy
honest.
names, 100%. The size of the cast is becoming a huge problem, and we're not the only ones complaining. We saw this in We Solve Murders, and we saw it in The Last Devil to Die. We don't just have a gang of intrepid British investigators, we also have parents, we have friends of parents, and we have such a huge cast in this series. And because of Richard Osman's ability and propensity to create charming characters, I imagine he feels a certain pressure to have a cameo for everybody. As I always say though, a good producer can't promise everybody screen time. I was exasperated when I saw that Connie was in this book. I thought it would have benefited from more Elizabeth.
Yeah.
Richard, don't be afraid to axe a character or two from the roster, even if it's just for 1 or 2 books. Sometimes less is more. Give us a chance to miss some of these characters. So I
Maybe
miss
that's
Douglas.
what he was doing.
I miss Douglas because I ain't seen him. You see what I'm saying? He's not in
Douglas
every...
is dead.
Yeah, but I don't miss the character because he's not been about.
But do you think that's what he was trying to do by not giving Elizabeth so much screen time in this?
No, because she's still here. It doesn't do
She
the same
wasn't
thing.
as much though, was she?
No, she wasn't in this book as much, but I
Yeah.
think this is the one time she should have been in it. Like, I think the book would have benefited more from... I think books need a main character, a main character, and you need to know who the main character is. Like, just don't do the Game of Thrones thing. Even Game of Thrones has main characters.
Yeah.
Like 2 or 3, let's say, but...
1 second. On to more good stuff. This is the first book where a mystery needs to be solved by cracking a code where the code was actually very clever. Not only would it be impossible to figure out, but the way that the code was delivered was 100% misleading. So I think Ibrahim got a text from Nick, who was one of the beneficiaries of the 350 million quid. Nick had gone into hiding and it was presumed that he'd been kidnapped or was dead. Ibrahim got a text from Nick saying, "Got to hide out, old chap. Let everybody know that I'm okay." So there was a back and forth where Ibrahim didn't believe it was actually Nick texting him. So he started to ask Nick some questions that only the real Nick would know the answers to. And whoever was typing on Nick's phone was avoiding answering the questions. They were like, "This is how you're treating me? The one time I need you to tell everybody I'm okay, you're testing me?" So, the basic I'm guilty rhetoric.
Yeah.
Avoid. So anyway, here's the clever bit. The code was in the text. In phrases like, "Sorry I've offended you," the F of if along with the I've spells 5. I hope you lot got that. But if you write it down, you get it.
Put it on
so
the
the
screen.
F, if I've, IF, take out the I, F, IVE, is 5. Which spells 5. And that was one of the numbers in the code. So I thought that was extremely clever, especially because the texts were written in a way for us readers to think that somebody was impersonating Nick badly, when in fact it actually was Nick. So it was like a Uno reverse.
Yeah.
I just have one issue. The only issue is, why would anybody need to tell their friend the code in code? You're texting your mate. Just give him the code.
100%.
It's not like Nick was at gunpoint and needed to get a code over to his friend, because for one, if the gunman would get the code out of Nick. And 2, if the gun was texting on behalf of Nick, he would have just ascertained the information out of Nick to properly pass as Nick.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't have this fake person on the phone. You would think it's Nick. Because obviously the gunman would say, "What's the answer?"
Yeah, real talk. You wouldn't need to call Ibrahim for anything.
So that was a plot hole, basically.
It was a plot hole. And how the bloody hell was Ibrahim supposed to get, like, do you really think, Nick, like, your mate is gonna... You're doing a whole if I've, I would never bloody get that. What the hell? That's way too good of a code.
Yeah. It's very clever. I've never seen that in.
And then what was Holly's? It was like a phone number or something. Holly's was
No,
like a
Holly's
phone
one
number?
where they just gave it to her.
Yeah.
Literally, there was no cleverness to that because one code is enough.
Yeah, 100%. I think the story overemphasizes computers and the digital world. It's a huge lane change from Richard Osman's earlier works and it feels off. I like the premise of Nick and Holly both having half of a code that opens one vault, but I get the sense that the story thinks the Bitcoin element is more important than it is. The point of this series is to create more of a quaint classic murder mystery. I think the story would have worked just as well if Holly and Nick had an actual bloody key, or if the vault simply had money in it. The story itself should always be prioritized over these little details, and I don't think it made it a better story, making it Bitcoin.
Well, one thing I will say that there is some similarity through the stories because in the old books we had ChatGPT.
Oh yeah,
so
we
that
did.
Was also
We
current,
did. I forgot about that.
But these are examples, or these are opportunities for, as you said, the author to educate the audience because we have septuagenarians, these 70-year-old people. They grew up without phones. They grew up without computers. So to come into this world, they should be like cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, ChatGPT. Like this is the time for us to really learn with them, and you blew it.
Absolutely. Because I read this book and I still don't bloody know what cryptocurrency is, and that's just a crying shame in my opinion.
Yeah. He should have got you to invest. At least.
I bought cryptocurrency now just because of Richard Osman. Now they have to pay you a fee.
And I lost money, so now you have to pay me back.
Go ahead, reimburse me.
One of the best twists in the book was the revelation that the 350 million in Bitcoin was completely worthless. Here's how it actually happened. Nick and Holly gave Robert £20,000 to invest in Bitcoin, but Robert thought crypto was a scam, so he spent it. Then the Bitcoin exploded in value, doubled, tripled, and just kept climbing. So Robert didn't have the money to pay out their investment, so he did what any desperate man would do. He lied. He convinced them to hold, saying, now's not the time to sell. The value's still climbing. Every time they thought about cashing out, Robert begged them not to.
As if that was never going to come back to bite him,
No, he thought he was going to go back down, didn't
No, he's a joke, man.
After years of convincing them.
And then they beat him up. When it goes down, they beat him up anyways.
No, if it goes down to zero, he'd be like, oh, you've lost it.
No, because you convinced me many times not to cash out.
A beating's all right, though, compared to given the circumstances. That would be a good hiding, man. It'd be a good hiding.
It would have to be a serious hiding because you're missing out on hundreds of millions there.
After years of convincing them, the £20,000 he'd blown was worth hundreds of millions, more specifically £350 million. Of course, the problem is the £350 million fortune wasn't real because Robert had spent it years ago. So that was a nice touch to the story that I enjoyed. There was a lot of bags tapping and even murders for a treasure that wasn't actually real. Now my question to you, Joseph.
Yeah.
Did Robert actually owe Nick and Holly $350 million? Or at the very least, any compensation at all? Because I thought initially, when the balance...
He owes him 20,000.
That's what I thought. Because when the balance got to 60k, I thought he should have just come clean, gave them back their 20k, and be done with it. He didn't actually owe them the money, did he?
I don't think he owes them money that doesn't exist. Like,
yeah.
That's not.
See, I asked my dad. This is what we were talking about when you came in. I asked my dad. He said he owes.
The 350.
He owes them the money.
Damn.
That sort of thing. But I said you can't say that because let's say
he bought it, who's to say what would happen to the stock just based on that £20,000 investment in it? Who knows?
No. That's not what I'd say. If they lost the money, if the value went down, right, and he didn't invest the money, are they entitled to the 20 grand that he didn't invest?
Wait, say that again?
Let's say he didn't invest, as he did. He blew the money, and crypto went down. Does the people, Nick and Holly, owe the investor 20 grand then?
What, Robert?
Yeah, because the money's gone down.
Do they owe him 20 grand? I don't know. No, do they?
If it's gone, so what I'm saying is,
go on.
If the money goes up, he owes them. But if the money's gone down, let's say the money's gone down, the money's gone down to zero. Let's just say that money's gone down to zero, right? And then they find out he didn't invest it, and he still got the money. Do they get the money back?
Yeah, it's theirs.
No, but they lost it.
No, but they didn't lose it. It's there. It's there.
Yeah, but they should have lost it.
But they didn't lose it. It's theirs.
Okay.
But at the same time, it's like, if they should have lost it, then that means he should pay them back because they should have gained, but they didn't gain. So why do I owe you 350 million that you never had and never was gonna get? That
Yeah,
makes sense.
I definitely
sense.
think they owe whatever he owes whatever they
gave
him.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
it.
he owes
No,
the-
nothing more.
he owes the 20K.
They owe him a beating though.
That's gonna have to be a caning. That's gonna have to be a caning because there's no way.
And you know
There's
what's worse?
no way you've been faking it this whole time.
I think that's what really gets me. Fair enough if they
You
locked
fucked
it
up.
away.
You fucked up.
You
Cool.
see, like in Futurama, Fry finds
Yeah,
out.
yeah, yeah.
You know, let's say it was supposed to be that and it wasn't. Cool, but you said, "Hold on to the money,
Yeah,
bro."
yeah, yeah.
You made me think that it's going.
You
up.
gassed me up, and
Yeah.
it's like it's because. Cool. No one knew cryptocurrency was going to blow big. So
Yeah.
you could be forgiven for not thinking it was going to... Obviously, taking the money and spending it is a separate issue. You're still an idiot for that.
Yeah.
But you could be forgiven for not believing in cryptocurrency. That is understandable. But what's not understandable is the repeated lies.
No, but you can understand why he did that though, because he was sure crypto is gonna crash at some point. He was sure.
No, because he was like...
Who thought he's gonna go up to that?
Don't trust
millions?
yourself. You're going to trust yourself again after you just cost... No. You know, you might have to be deaf. You might have to get stoned. Stoned.
No, you
350 million.
You know you can't pay that back.
Yeah, of course not.
So-
And the funniest thing is,
You
like
can
your
never
whole line was set up.
So
your
what are you
whole
saying?
lineage,
So
bro,
wait,
was
are you
never have to
saying
work.
that every paycheck he makes, he's got to go straight to you
Straight, brother. Straight.
for life?
Until that's paid off. Till that
So that's
20K
why
is
he
paid
did
off.
top himself, didn't he? In the end,
You-
I think,
listen.
I think it didn't say he did. He put the gun in his mouth or something like that, and
I would take that gun away. You got debts to pay, big bro. About
You can't
killing
afford
yourself.
this.
Do you know what I mean? Where you get that gun?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
How much you pay for that gun? Give me every single
Oh,
item of
gosh.
clothing you own right now.
Well, yeah, my dad said he owes me the money
Jesus.
in full.
Whatever the value of crypto is now, just go Google it.
Yeah, that's true. That's just made up numbers, you know. You
It's
can't
made up
owe
numbers.
Someone from made up numbers.
You can't owe somebody that much money. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. You've got the funds for that.
That's you done, innit?
That's me done.
Yeah, that's me done as well. So yeah, what would you rate the book out of 5, and would you recommend it? I think the recommending part is a bit of a tricky question.
It is a tricky question. It's never the same, is it?
Because
It's never the same.
Well, how do you not recommend a bestseller book that everybody seems to like?
Easily.
Yeah.
But it's shit.
Yeah,
read
I
it.
don't think. Okay, was the book a waste of time in your opinion?
No, not a waste of time.
Do you regret reading it?
No, I think
Was
this
your
is
life
better than We
enriched?
Solve Murders. This is better than We Solve Murders.
Retail models were boring. This wasn't boring.
Yeah, fair enough.
This wasn't
But I
boring.
thought We Solve Murders had interesting characters though, so I wouldn't say boring, but I would say the plot didn't go anywhere.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Which is tough to say. It wasn't boring if the
We had
plot didn't go anywhere.
Globetrot. We had Globetrot. Where my mind is, we had Globetrotting,
Yeah.
and it was still boring. There was
Yeah,
still
which
no
is
plot.
insane. You can go the whole way around.
But anyway,
the
we're
world.
not talking about Whistle Man.
Yeah, we're not. This one, I thought it was okay. It was okay. I'll probably give it a high 2.
You're saying it like it's a compliment. Well, it's not.
High, strong 2.
Strong 2.
That's like 40%.
Strong 2 is generous.
You think so?
Strong 2. I don't know. It feels like you would need to do something to get a strong 2 over just a 2. What did it do?
So
for
you think just flat 2?
2?
Fair enough.
What did it do for
You was
me?
like, this is my favourite one, 2. It's just weird. That's why I say this 5 out of 5 scale makes no sense.
Do you want to
Because I'm like, it
disband
was
it?
shit.
Do you wanna
I'll give it a 4. He was like, oh, I loved it. 2.
So strong 2, but you wouldn't recommend it.
I gave it a strong 2. You said it was generous, but it's your favourite one. That doesn't make
I said I
sense.
think it was probably the best book overall. Thursday Murder Club had maybe a few better characters, but the plot was, at the end of the day, they found some code in the lockers that had a camera. You know, is the cat out there again?
No, I don't think so.
I heard
Is
something. Anyway, yeah, I think he is. Anyway, yeah,
So would you recommend it?
no, I couldn't recommend it. I couldn't put my name on it and say, yes, go and read this
I'd
book.
recommend it if you've already read Thursday Murder Club.
But if
and,
you've
like,
already read
you've found the
Thursday Murder
series.
Club, you don't need a recommendation.
Exactly.
Because you're
which
going to
is
read it.
Exactly why I would only recommend to them, because it's a cop-out. But
Don't regret reading it.
I would recommend, I'll tell you what, would I recommend this? No, I'd recommend the Thursday Murder Club. Read that one. And because it's just, there's no way you can start on this one. It's just not
So this is
feasible.
like the 5th book that he's written.
It's
in
the
this
5th in the series, yeah.
and they're all crap. Just give us one good one.
One good one, man.
good one.
With like 2 or 3 characters only. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Carl were good money out characters, and then just, give us a good one. It's not too much to ask,
Mass
is it?
Exodus, yeah, 100%. I don't think it's too much to ask at all. For a Sunday Times best-selling author,
Yeah.
should be well within your powers. Should we end with quotes?
Quote of the day, yes.
Quote of the day. Never debate a fool. They will drag you down to their level and beat you with experience.
Yeah. Fair enough. On that note.
It was great. Say it.
Till next time.
Till next time.